What's going on, Fit Fam? We are on day 5, week 7, and it has been a journey. This morning I woke up at 4:30 to do a kind of a preview on how to navigate going downtown to the new company, and so I had to hop on a bus, hop on a ferry, hop on a bus, and do all that things. So then I also had to do my drug testing. They had to do urine. Thank God, because I drank so much water. Last time I did a urine test for another company, it literally took me 45 minutes before I could pee. That little person in the background, that is my daughter. We are working out today. She did some biceps with me, and we're stretching. We got the inversion table out, so everything is going well. And there's her thumbs up. What else is happening? So our affirmation today is, regardless of your role, don't lose your humanity. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I met up with some people that I used to work with at coffee, and the people that were amongst our peers have gotten promoted, and they're no longer friendly. They're no longer cordial. They're very straightforward to business, no small talk like they used to do. So it's kind of interesting that when you get to that point of management, you can't lose your humanity. You just can't. You got to stay human, and because that's what really matters. And it's a little disappointing. So that's our affirmation. I mean, you just power, money. You just can't lose that humanity and bond and friendship that you've made to develop yourself amongst your peers. Otherwise, you lose respect too from your peers. Also, our second affirmation is keeping busy and making optimism a way of life can restore your faith in yourself. Now, who said that? Lucille Ball. For those of you who are old enough and you know who that is, she was an actor. I love Lucy. Here's the ironic thing. Today, doing the preview, just walking the parts that I walked over 5,000 steps, which is pretty amazing for me because normally I walk on average 850 steps versus 5,000. So I'll probably stay trim just by walking to work. In other news, when it comes to our family, our daughter lost a tooth, so she got to take that out. Now it was interesting because she did not want her aunt to take out the tooth, and she was very scared, but she did get her tooth taken out, and she was a little shocked, a little angry, right?
Yeah.
But it worked out in the end. All right. So we are going to push forward. Got this weekend, and we're going to continue to go, and tell them that God answered your prayers. And that's what we get. Okay. Keep pushing forward. Don't lose faith. And things are going to work out. I've been watching The Diary of a CEO, and Andrew, how do you pronounce his last name? Bustamante. I think that's how you say it. He's putting out a book. I ordered it. But he had a really good tip when it came to interviewing. For those who are interviewing, he said, what it is basically your resume gets you in the door. You're qualified. The rest of it is personality. The rest of it is how you communicate. The rest of it is that they like you. And he said your goal on your interview is just to have them like you, period. They're obviously going to ask you what if questions. They're going to ask you some kind of role-based questions. And you just have to answer those questions, but also be a personality. Don't just answer them. Have fun with it. Learn to communicate with them. And that's, that advice, careful. That advice is what I did in my last interviews. And what happened was my interviews kept on running over the time limit because it was just conversation, which are the best interviews. Let's be honest. Panel interviews, if you can't strike a conversation with the panel and just have a good time talking, then something's missing. You gotta be yourself. And if they like you, that's the key. I had the job that I landed, I had 4 interviews, and all 4 of them we ran out of time because we were just chatting it up, talking about work. It was a work kind of conversation on things I would do, and me probing them questions on what are the things, the pain points, what are they working on, how can what the future looks like, things that I've noticed in other corporations, and that's what worked. So I think the one I had an interview. Actually, even though I had landed a job, I did do another interview. What's going on? I did do another interview, and I had the same thing, but this time it didn't. They weren't very engaging, so it ended fast. And I asked them a ton of questions, and they asked me questions, and the conversation was there, but it wasn't like a really good engagement from them. So I'll be surprised if I even quote unquote go on the next phase of that one. But I did it just because I already booked it, and I thought I got to practice anyways. And it's just a good thing to do is continue to practice your interviewing skills, communication skills, because you got nothing to lose, really. So there you go. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on week 8.